Hello and welcome to County Tyrone in Northern Ireland for the Cookstown 100. It's the second programme featuring road racing of the highest calibre, as we've already witnessed in the first show. Oh dear, here Mike Brown a little bit previous. Oh, Sweeney's off the bike! So McLean's on his way. And he takes the checkered flag, well-deserved win. Watch the lights, away we go. Cracking start by Mike Brown, but I think Melissa Kennedy's going to get the jump. Up the inside, Brown leads. Here he goes, it's going to be victory for Mike Brown. Oh, McLean with a super start from pole position. A little bit quick coming in for the right-hand turn. Dominant performance from Adam McLean on the McAdoo Kawasaki. Here is who is expected to be challenging at the sharp end today. Adam McLean from Tobermore rides for the locally based McAdoo Racing, a team with pedigree and plenty of success here. Michael Sweeney from Skerries is a former Irish champion and double winner here. Cork's Mike Brown represents another local team, Burrows Engineering RK Racing. Paul Jordan has signed for the Isle of Man based Prez Racing. The Macrofelt man is one of the sport's brightest prospects. And Daryl Tweed from Ballymoney excelled at Cookstown last year before a crash late in the day. At 2.1 miles in length, the Orritor circuit may be the shortest, but always produces super racing. It has a little bit of everything: long straights, slow corners, twists and turns, bends, plus a magnificent jump, before winding its way through the village to the checkered flag. Coming up then, it's the Open A race.
Yes, indeed, it is quite remarkable that Michael Sweeney has been past fit to take part in the Superbike race. He's feeling a little bit battered and bruised, of course. It might just work against him, perhaps once the adrenaline kicks in, who knows. Just the one name missing from the first wave, Andy Farrell, of course. So Sweeney in pole position, alongside him number 16 Mike Brown, and then Adam McLean completing the front row. Paul Jordan and number 31 Sean Anderson on row number 2. Now then, it looked like a little bit of a moment for Michael Sweeney, but he's okay now, but away they go. Adam McLean looks like he's got the best of starts. It is indeed, as they go. Oh, that was close from Brown and Sweeney. Sweeney now trying to find second place again if he can. He's going up the inside of Mike Brown. Brown will have to yield. Sweeney turns in time, does he? Yes, he does. Adam McLean on his way though, out in front, and what would be a hat-trick of wins. Next wave away. 64, Stephen McKnight leading them. Adam McLean leading Michael Sweeney and Mike Brown as they go around McAdoo. Paul Jordan is there, so too David Jackson and James Chalk and Sean Anderson. Daryl Tweed leading the second wave. So this is Sweeney. Now, watch out for Mike Brown. Sweeney does perhaps go out to the centre of the road a little bit too soon, and that's where the contact happened. Still nothing between them. Paul Jordan just tucking in on the back of this little four-way fight out in front, and behind him David Jackson, James Chalk and Sean Anderson. Always spectacular spot for the Superbikes. So much power, front wheels going light. And Daryl Tweed, who could find himself in amongst the first wave of riders time-wise, so he'll be certainly one to keep an eye on. So here they come to complete the opening lap. It's Adam McLean from a battered and bruised Michael Sweeney. Mike Brown is still there in third place. Paul Jordan just losing ground a little bit. Oh, here comes Mike Brown around the outside. I don't think he'll stop in time. And again, I could be proved wrong. What a move by Mike Brown. A little bit on the risky side perhaps, but he came in very, very hot, and he managed to get past Michael Sweeney, and he's now in pursuit of that man, Adam McLean. So far we've seen Adam McLean hit the front and just pull away. Maybe not in the Superbikes. Oh, it's all happening further back as well. Gordon catches out so many riders in each race. It's such a long blast down into that right-hand turn. Still nothing between these three. It's as you were on each lap. Will they break 124 this time? Adam McLean from Mike Brown, from Michael Sweeney. Paul Jordan's a good 7 or 8 seconds further back. Oh, they're all inside 124 this time. 123.81, the fastest. That was McLean. And here comes Mike Brown. No, he's not. Just had a little look out. Here we go again. Mike Brown looking to gain that ground, trying to stay with Adam McLean if he can. Maybe try and get good drive out of a turn, perhaps. Again, I don't think I've ever seen anyone so close to another rider at McAdoo as Mike Brown is. Right on his back wheel. And here's Paul Jordan. Indeed, he is 8 seconds down on the three-way fight in front of him. The hint, perhaps a suggestion that Michael Sweeney maybe just feeling the aches and pains perhaps, and losing a little bit of ground on the fantastic battle that's raging on ahead of him. No. No. I thought, no way was he going to make a move there. My goodness, Mike Brown certainly thought about it. Wisely held off. That would have been some move. I don't think I've ever seen anyone go through there, or certainly pass anyone going through there. The McLean still leads. And the fastest lap of the race goes to Mike Brown, 123.4. Adam McLean, 123.5. 0.2 of a second between them. Michael Sweeney back in the 124s again. The second down in third place. Meanwhile, here's David Jackson. Adam McLean and Mike Brown. Mike Brown wants this, doesn't he? You can tell he wants this. But where can he find his way past Adam McLean? Adam McLean, top rider, but where would Mike Brown make that move? And also, incredible ride by Michael Sweeney, considering that massive off he had before. Still there in third place. Okay, he's losing ground on the front two, but still to go around this circuit at the speeds they are doing, after what had happened to him, incredible. A little bit better from Mike Brown this time. So here they come. Again, I think if Mike Brown, maybe if he can just get a little bit, if he can get close to McLean coming out of the right-left-hand combination, but here he goes into Gordon, trying to carry that speed. He's not close enough to make a move this time. Absolutely incredible. In the 123s, Mike Brown fastest on that lap as well. Well, he's running out of time, Mike Brown, if he's going to do anything about Adam McLean. Adam McLean making himself as difficult as possible to pass. Oh, and traffic up ahead. Maybe, just maybe, that could come into play. If McLean comes across one of the slower riders at the wrong place, Mike Brown could take advantage. Oh, right out to the line. That's incredible riding. Incredible racing. Paul Jordan still holding fourth. Here is Adam McLean going past the slower rider. And here's Mike Brown right behind him. Last lap flag goes out. Just a 1/10 of a second between them. Oh, he's through. Mike Brown goes through. Can he turn in time? He can. Absolutely nailed it. And they've got riders all over the place. This is going to be tricky. What an end to this race. What a fantastic final lap we're on for. Mike Brown from Adam McLean. And McLean has led this race for so long, until about half a mile, less than half a mile ago. But here goes Brown. but will Adam McLean come through? Here comes Darrell Tweed. He sees the last lap flag. And Mike Brown just makes his way through on Darrell Anderson. And Darrell Anderson getting in the way of Adam McLean. Oh, McLean won't like that. And I think that's it. Mike Brown, unless anything similar happens to Mike Brown with slower traffic, it looks like it's going to be Mike Brown's race to win now from Adam McLean. And if it is, it will be Mike Brown's first ever Superbike win. But here comes Mike Brown. Adam McLean is just not close enough. The cards kind of fell perhaps on Mike Brown, but he did go through on Adam McLean. Wonderful race. Best race of the day so far. And it's Mike Brown who takes the checkered flag. Adam McLean has to settle for second place. Adam McLean will be furious with how that went. So Mike Brown takes it just from Adam McLean. Michael Sweeney in third place. Paul Jordan fourth. And Darrell Tweed in fifth place.
Very satisfying. Been kind of wanting a race win in the Burrows bikes for a while now. It's a long time coming. Yeah, sure, look, everyone knows that the two Derricks and things aren't here, but like it's still a competitive grid and I'm delighted with it.
Coming up next, it's action from the Super Twin B and Junior Classic. Welcome back to the Cookstown 100 in Northern Ireland. Next, it's the Super Twin B race.
Not the biggest grid of the day, but you'll know it will be hotly contested. As RG Woolsey gets him away, James Rothery alongside him. Noel Smith in third place, but look for Rad Hughes on bike 51, and also at the inside, Paul Magnay, bike 87. But it's RJ Woolsey pulling out a gap out in front. Woolsey from Rad Hughes, from James Rothery. Rad Hughes starting from the second row. Already up in the second place. Woolsey from Hughes, from Rothery. Fourth place is Magnay. Then it's Castle.
I think the next race after this then will be the junior support.
RJ Woolsey's looking very compact out in front. So across the line he goes. It's RJ Woolsey continues to lead. Rad Hughes still in second place. James Rothery in third. Oh no! RJ Woolsey totally messes it up. Rejoins in second place, but just left it too late on the brakes. Indeed, he is back in front, RJ Woolsey. Rad Hughes in second. James Rothery still holding third place. Just about. And it's quite fiercely contested, this third position. It's still very much up for grabs. Well, there is Rad Hughes. And here they come. And it's Rothery, but only just from Noel Smith. Noel Smith closing right in. There may only be a handful of Super Twins out on the circuit, but they do make some noise. Now then, Noel Smith looking to make a pass if he can. RJ Woolsey through Magnay. Paul Magnay. The Rad Hughes now has Noel Smith for company, and Noel Smith, having seen off James Rothery, now thinking very hard about second place. Here comes RJ Woolsey then, despite that misdemeanor. Gives a thumbs up. And here's that battle for second, and it's Noel Smith. My goodness me, that was some move through there. So here comes RJ Woolsey then. Had that moment at Gorton, but takes the checkered flag nonetheless. A comfortable victory in the end. Who will take second place? Noel Smith in second position ahead of Rad Hughes with James Rothery fourth, Andrew Castle fifth, but it's RJ Woolsey's race. In pole position, and no relation to the former world champion, well I don't think so, Kelly Carruthers. And it's Kelly Carruthers, like their namesake, powering away down to Gorton for the very first time. Next wave is away. Mark Johnson, Leon Murphy, RJ Woolsey. And a move from number 46, Mark Johnson, as he goes past Keith Baxter. Kelly Carruthers continues to pull away out in front, and it's a nice advantage to have at this early stage of the race. A massive advantage. But that is on the road, of course, not on the time charts, because this man, Mark Johnson, second wave of riders, it's between he and Kelly Carruthers as to who will win this race, it would seem. But here comes Carruthers at the Orritor crossroads. But Mark Johnson, Carruthers still leads, but Johnson's in second place. And that is on corrected time, of course, because Johnson was in the second wave of riders. I wonder if Kelly Carruthers is getting signs to say that. Sometimes you're not getting signs and you're out in front in the first wave. You may just ease off, not wondering what's happening with the second wave of riders. Mark Johnson's long gone through. Keith Baxter now in vision, along with Davy Crawford. They were fourth and fifth at the end of lap one. Kelly Carruthers continues to lead. And a retirement for RJ Woolsey. So 4 laps completed for Woolsey. Well, Kelly Carruthers leads on the road and just about to go past Alan Gibson, but it's Mark Johnson who is the actual race leader. And Johnson has passed Carruthers, so Johnson leads on the road as well as the time charts. Carruthers struggling to stay with Mark Johnson. And maybe Leon Murphy, who was in the second wave of riders as well, in third only overall, could just snatch second place. But here comes Mark Johnson, the race leader. And that is Leon Murphy. So no Kelly Carruthers, not made it to the end. Well, Mark Johnson, we were thinking he's going to win this one, but Leon Murphy could have other ideas. Alan Gibson, 69. Murphy is gaining on Johnson. Murphy is catching Johnson. It could be one heck of a finish. Here they come. Johnson and Murphy, there's hardly anything in it. Murphy's gaining. Murphy's definitely gaining. There was less than 3 seconds at the end of the previous lap. It's going to be really, really tight to the line. Here they come. Murphy trying everything. Jackson hasn't got time to look around. But it's Jackson who takes the checkered flag, only just from Leon Murphy. Well, a tenth of a second, the difference between Leon Murphy and Mark Johnson at the end of the Junior Classic B race. And in the 250s, it was a win for Trevor Stewart.
Coming up next, it's action from the lightweight and senior classic races. Welcome back to Northern Ireland and the Cookstown 100. On the grid next, it's the lightweight machines.
Darrell Tweed in pole position and making up the front row alongside him, Stephen Tobin and Chris Duncan. Then it's Andy Whale, Davy Morgan and Gareth Arnold on row 2, and Darren Duncan and Alan Johnston completing the first wave. Darrell Tweed hoping to get the whole shot. It's a long blast down towards Gorton. It could be a three-way. It's Stephen Tobin who's looking to get there first, but keep an eye on Darrell Tweed up the inside. And indeed it is Tweed who'll turn in first. So Tweed leads. We're on board with Davy Morgan in 4th position, it would seem. Yes, indeed he is. Next wave gets away. 12 is Richard Ford. On a problem for 62. Aidan Cleary, and he's away. Bump starts it. Darrell Tweed leads from Stephen Tobin. Chris Duncan, Davy Morgan. Just behind Davy Morgan, the likes of Alan Johnston, Andy Whale, Darren Duncan, Gareth Arnold. And here they come. Darrell Tweed providing the pictures and providing his name for the P1 position on the top of the leaderboard. Stephen Tobin in 2nd place. Chris Duncan still in 3rd. And the unmistakable pink helmet of Davy Morgan in 4th position. Alan Johnston and Andy Whale just behind him. So here they come then to complete this lap. And it is Darrell Tweed from Stephen Tobin. Just over a second between them at the end of lap 1. And then 1.5 seconds back to Chris Duncan, with Davy Morgan looking a little bit menacing perhaps in 4th place, trying to close in on Duncan, who's weaving his way into Gorton. Next wave comes through. Richard Ford leading that, but he doesn't go into the first wave of riders' times. Again, Duncan weaving the front wheel around. Davy Morgan just sat in behind him. Morgan looking to get the drive out of the turn if he can. Here he goes, so Davy Morgan going for 3rd place past Chris Duncan. It's Tweed still from Stephen Tobin. But now it's Davy Morgan up into 3rd place at the end of lap 2. Less than a tenth of a second on again. Lots of chatter perhaps from the front end of Chris Duncan's bike. Well, having moved up into 3rd place, he's got the bit between his teeth, it would seem, and is now chasing Stephen Tobin. 62, Aidan Cleary. It's all a little bit messy. Darrell Tweed continued to pulling away, but this 2nd place battle rages on. Stephen Tobin, and Davy Morgan. Tweed across the line. And here goes Davy Morgan. Takes the long way round, but can he stop the machine in time as they come into Gorton? This is lap 5. Oh! And through he goes again. So Morgan showed him his front wheel and then his rear wheel. However, Stephen Tobin. Oh, and Morgan goes again. And it is Morgan up into 2nd place. Tobin back to 3rd. So 4 laps completed, lap number 5. And Davy Morgan now in 2nd place. Tweed with around 5 seconds, I would say now, advantage over Davy Morgan. Stephen Tobin still very much in the picture in 3rd as they go through Mackney. So Darrell Tweed seemingly on course for victory. Here's the man in 2nd place, Davy Morgan. Stephen Tobin refusing to let go of Morgan. Tweed refusing to let go of 1st place. A glance round from Davy Morgan. Stephen Tobin is still there. There's still nothing between them really. Tobin closing in on Davy Morgan, is he? He's certainly trying to. Here's our race leader into Gorton, Darrell Tweed. Now then, here we go again. Tobin up the inside of Davy Morgan. Oh, Davy Morgan just has to yield. So Tobin goes through into 2nd place. Well, the laps are running out. Less than 2 laps to go. Davy Morgan back in 3rd place. Stephen Tobin up in the 2nd. These two are going to have plenty to talk about at the end of this one. Darrell Tweed just happy to be out on his own through Mackney, still leading. Got a good advantage over this battle for second place. Got around 6-7 seconds. Tobin from Morgan. And there's just another lap to go after this one. But Darrell Tweed in amongst the slower riders. Number 9, Richard Telford. Again, no blue flags to let the slower riders know the quicker guys are coming through. But here is Darrell Tweed. It may have cost him a second or two. We'll find out as here comes Tobin and Morgan. They'll be coming across these slower riders shortly as well. So one more lap to go. Second place still up for debate. And here goes Morgan. Leaving it very late. But is he going to do it late enough? No, not on this occasion. But he might get good drive out of the turn. So here he goes. The gap could be there. Indeed it is. Morgan just powers his way through. It was because he carried more speed around Gorton than Tobin. And he was able to keep that power up. And he's through into second place. Darrell Tweed just enjoying himself now on the Orritor circuit. And the slower guys affect the outcome of this race. Davy Morgan gets past one. Really, Mackney's not the best place to come across them. Certainly out of Mackney on the straighter parts of the circuit is good. And that looks like second place confirmed for Davy Morgan. I can't see how Stephen Tobin's going to make it through and then go on to pass. The checkered flag awaits then. It's Darrell Tweed who wins the race. He takes it. And Davy Morgan with second place, and Stephen Tobin will have to settle for third. Confirmation of the result with Chris Duncan in fourth ahead of Andy Whale and Alan Johnston. Stephen Tobin third, Davy Morgan second, and Darrell Tweed the race winner. The senior classic machines roar into life, and it's Andy Hornby who'll lead them. Richard Ford and Barry Davidson on the front row. 500cc's, 750s, up to 1,000. Andy Hornby who leads them, and a good move from Ben Ray from row 2. He's up in the second place. And we're riding with Ben Ray now. Oh dear, and that is a position that's gone. That's Richard Ford who's gone through. So Richard Ford up in the second place on Ben Ray. Barry Davidson, it would seem, is in fourth place. And we've got the likes of Waddy Brown, Andy Kildare, Ian Thompson, John Lee Pemberton. This is the race leader, Andy Hornby on the 750. Ford still in second place, but it's tight between Ray and Davidson for third. Hornby, Ford, Ray, Davidson, Kildare, Brown, Thompson, John Lee Pemberton. We're back with Ben Ray on the 504. 100cc four-cylinder Honda. It seems to be developing into a two-way fight out in front. A few question marks about who will get third. Early days, of course. But Ben Ray occupying that position at the moment from Barry Davidson. No question about who is leading. Andy Hornby. It's Richard Ford, and that is Barry Davidson that's gone through into third place. So Barry Davidson into third. Hornby should be Ford next, and indeed it is. Drew McAdoo. Richard Ford still in second overall. That gap at the front of Andy Hornby's continues to grow. So was a couple of seconds at the end of lap 1. It was over 3 seconds at the end of lap 2, but it is growing and growing and growing. Ben Ray still 4th overall. Well, as long as the everything holds together for Andy Hornby, it looks like it could be his race. It's Watty Brown and John Lee Pemberton across the line. Coming out as we draw towards the end of this race. 6 laps completed. Well, he's can't be faulted. It's been a perfect ride from Andy Hornby from the very start. He's got time to look around, see what's going on behind him. He takes the checkered flag. Andy Hornby with the win. Richard Ford in 2nd place with Ben Ray in 3rd, Andy Kildare 4th, Ian Thompson 5th and Philip Shaw in 6th. And in the 500s, it's a win for Barry Davidson ahead of Watty Brown with John Lee Pemberton in 3rd.
More racing still to come from Northern Ireland. Next, it's the Cookstown 100B. Hello again from Northern Ireland. Next, it's the Cookstown 100B race.
And it is Tommy Henry from pole position, powering down towards Gordon. He leads them. Next wave away, led by Dan Harrison with number 26 Dennis Booth alongside. But here is the first on the road, Tommy Henry with Vinnie Brennan for company at McAdoo. Henry from Brennan. Andy Saylor's also just out of the picture along with Anthony Redmond. Oh, rider down. Oh dear, Mackney. That was Tommy Henry on lap 4, losing it at Mackney. And here comes 69, the race leader Dan Harrison from the 2nd wave, going past Andy Saylor, who began in the 1st wave. Dan Harrison, bike 69, picking them off one by one. 2nd place still is Vinnie Brennan. Anthony Redmond is now up into 3rd, following the demise of Tommy Henry. Well, there's 2nd and 1st, and 3rd in the middle. So into Mackney they go. It's Vinnie Brennan leading on the road ahead of Anthony Redmond, but it's Dan Harrison, the rider at the back of those 3. One more lap to go. It's Dan Harrison with a 12-second lead over Anthony Redmond. Only just 0.02 of a second between Redmond and Brennan. Oh dear, a little bit too hot into the turn. Anthony Redmond looking good for 2nd place. Vinnie Brennan, too much surely for him to make up now to do anything about these two. Will Anthony Redmond let Dan Harrison past, though he's first not only on the time charts but also on the road? Here they come. I think Johnson's going to go for it, is he? No, just tucks back in behind. Johnson's done him. Johnson does indeed. Leads overall, so he will be greeted by the checkered flag first. It will be a win for Dan Harrison. Anthony Redmond will be 2nd. Vinnie Brennan will be 3rd, and Johnson already celebrating back at the old finish line at the Cookstown. This is how it finishes then with Dennis Booth in 4th ahead of Andy Saylor. Vinnie Brennan 3rd, Anthony Redmond 2nd, but Dan Harrison, what a race for him.
Adam McLean has 2 wins, so too Mike Brown. Therefore, something has to give as the two go head-to-head in the last race of the day, and it's the big one. the Cookstown 100. Former winners of this race, some of the biggest names in the sport. Ryan Farquhar, Guy Martin, Philip McCallan, Michael Dunlop. But who will triumph in 2021? Let's find out with the threat of rain in the air. Michael Sweeney was meant to be in pole position, but he isn't taking his place on the grid.
Just after the crash we had, it just got sore on my neck and hip and my two elbows, so we just decided to go out in the Superbike race just to kind of clear my head. And went out, was happy enough, and then I just said, I seen this was 12-lap race and I wouldn't be able to last the 12 laps, no way.
So therefore it's Mike Brown and Adam McLean looking to continue their Superbike clash from earlier in the day. Paul Jordan and Sean Anderson on row number 2, and the sole rider on row number 3, David Jackson. Here they go, McLean versus Brown, but also throw in Paul Jordan as well. But it's McLean who powers his way down to Gordon for the very first time. Can Paul Jordan show a little bit closer this time? He's in 3rd place. David Jackson slotting into 4th, next wave away, 64, Stephen McKnight. Darrell Tweed just trying his best if he can to stay with Mike Brown and make it a 3-way fight out in front. Mike Brown still in 2nd place, chasing Adam McLean. And Mike Brown, having recorded his first ever Superbike race win here at Cookstown, he wants another one. Adam McLean certainly won't want to give him one. And here they come then to complete this opening lap. 5 riders in this first wave. No Michael Sweeney, of course, this time. Great performance from him to take 3rd, but here they go across the line. Adam McLean from Mike Brown. There were hints of a few drops of rain, but certainly no sign of that. Oh, McLean has messed it up. McLean has just handed it to Mike Brown. Mike Brown powers through. Oh, McLean. He needs to start focusing and get his concentration back again. A little bit of a wobble from Forrest Dunn. So here they go. Still Mike Brown from Adam McLean. It's game on, folks. Mike Brown really coming to the fore in of late. Really putting in some great performances. A relative newcomer to the roads from Cork. And McLean right behind him now. McLean will be looking to get the drive out of the turn. Oh, Brown takes it out to the brown stuff. Right on the edge. McLean looking to find a way. He's going to try and do him on the brakes. Here goes Adam McLean, but can he turn and stop in time? That's the question. Oh, it's a big move from Adam McLean. McLean goes through, takes over at the front. Mike Brown shuffled back to 2nd place. Threat of rain in the air as well, it has to be said. And yes, it is. There's rain coming down. Oh, big moment for Mike Brown. Oh dear, he's gone off. Mike Brown. That's a really steep part of the circuit. Here we go again from Mike Brown. Yeah, it's wet. He's on slicks. And the road, it's really, the camera levels that off really, and the red flag is out. Well, after a 20-minute or so delay, conditions have worsened, certainly at the start. And most of the riders, Brown, McLean, Jordan, they've not opted to race. Here we go, 4 laps the race distance. And Darrell Tweed, you would imagine, is going to start this one as favourite. We're on board with Tweed. You can see how damp the road is. David Jackson alongside him, but it's Tweed who goes into Gordon first. Richard Charlton in 3rd position. Also there, Stephen Tobin, Darrell Tweed, Forrest Dunn, of course. And the veteran, Paul Cranston. Jackson still holding 3rd place. 2nd place, sorry, Richard Charlton in 3rd, just ahead of Forrest Dunn. Adam McLean electing not to go out. He has a couple of wins to his name already. And Darrell Tweed had another victory to the McAdoo Kawasaki team today. So Darrell Tweed from Jackson. Then a gap back. It's Forrest Dunn who's now up there with Richard Charlton. And here comes Jackson on Tweed. Jackson up the inside. So Jackson takes over at the front as long as he can stop and turn in time, unless Tweed can do something about it. They're side by side. And it is Jackson who leads from Tweed. Jackson takes over from the front. So a big move from David Jackson. He leads from Darrell Tweed. Drew McAdoo. A little bit of spinning perhaps. Tyres doing their job though. Forrest Dunn perhaps could be gaining on these two now. There was a suggestion that Jackson and Tweed were pulling away. Well, having gained the lead of the race, David Jackson determined not to let go. It looks quite dry through this section. It is damp, but certainly not as saturated as it is over the start and finish. Forrest Dunn just wiping off a little bit of a few droplets from the visor. Certainly does look as if David Jackson is pulling away from Darrell Tweed. And Tweed make up some ground on the brakes. Oh, he's making up a lot of ground, and he turns it in time. My goodness me, he made up some ground there on David Jackson. But David Jackson with a 7/10 of a second lead at the end of lap 2, and that's just been wiped out by Darrell Tweed, who's taken over at the front again. Well, Forrest Dunn slipped into second place. When did that happen? So Forrest Dunn's gone into second. Jackson's now back in third. Forrest Dunn up into second place. Darrell Tweed having led, then losing the lead, regaining the lead, now looking to hold it from both Forrest Dunn, who's very, very close, and David Jackson. In the wet, they're around about 9-10 seconds slower than they would be in the dry, but still an incredible speed. Now then, Forrest Dunn, side by side as the last lap flag goes out. Tweed leads, but it was just 0.03 of a second the advantage as they went over the line. He's opened that back up a little bit again now, but certainly Forrest Dunn in second place, Jackson in third. We have a three-way fight out in front for the main feature race of the day. Only 7 riders, of course, but we're having some finish to this one. And that looks like Jackson's left it to them, the other two to Tweed and to Dunn to fight it out. I think Jackson's just up. Oh, there goes Forrest Dunn! Oh, that was big, but can he stop and turn in time at Mackney? Well, certainly not stop, but certainly slow down enough. And Forrest Dunn has left it at precisely the right time, it would seem. Forrest Dunn leads from Darrell Tweed. It's going to be a victory for Forrest Dunn. What odds you would have got at the beginning of the day on Forrest Dunn winning the feature race here at Cookstown? But he's going to, unless something terrible happens here, if he spins it or certainly no, he's planted it superbly. It's going to be a victory for Forrest Dunn. My goodness me, Forrest Dunn wins from Darrell Tweed. What a race that was. Okay, it was a short sprint over 4 laps, but it was superb. Forrest Dunn then with the win, half a second the gap over Darrell Tweed. David Jackson third with Paul Gartland in fourth.
I enjoy the wet, so perfect conditions for me really. I think Darrell was on an intermediate, so maybe not quite the right tyre for the conditions, but you know, he was still really riding well for that tyre, so yeah.
Well, it's just one of them things. Hey, I just thought we'd give it a go and see. The throttle worked both ways, but I appreciate the other boys and not going out and their decision not to go out, but I allowed for me. I classed myself as a wet man, so seen my chance.
A damp finish to what has been a bright day of racing at the Orritor circuit and the Cookstown 100 road races in Northern Ireland. Forrest Dunn, the winner of the feature race. That's it then. Time to say farewell. See you again next time.